go.
Well, and the grandkids aren't around that as much to
No,
do it, so that's what.
That was kind of, what drove him for a little while, was his grandkids.
yeah, and you know, it's,
I'm waiting.
I mean, depends on if you got others that wanna come hang out or not. With COVID, it's, yeah,
yeah, it was,
everything's different.
yeah, and I don't, you know, it's kind of,
Logan still does that, but they're young, they can.
They keep strong and
I don't, like, well, you know, I mean, I just don't, I don't like it.
No, you don't.
I mean, I wish, you know, it's one of those things, like, I wish.
If it's
The problem is, that, I can understand that, that pipeline is the worst, and you have so many.
Right.
I mean, nowadays, it's so much different.
Right.
I mean, it's, you aren't picking up off the ground, so you don't stick apart. You don't drag it so the leaves here, the trees way over here. I mean,
Correct.
it's different.
You know, I sort of joke, it's like, I wish I liked sugaring and cross-country skiing, but I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't cross.
You,
I've
you just
never
need
put
to
it,
have sugar and smell a little more like balsam, and then you'd be all set.
Maybe,
I've never put it skis downhill or cross.
I love downhill.
Okay, yeah.
So you can let them in their boxes up here?
What are you expecting for that?
Huh?
We have no idea.
We heard you.
Yeah.
You've met our expectations.
Michelle told me-
excited to see Matt Allen.
Well, that's true.
Well, I would imagine, Matt, you want me to do your job today?
Jimmy will help you.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Take the both of them, go 3 in the afternoon.
I just can't see back there, so I just.
Yeah, that's
Just
fine.
standing here to say hi to
Pull
people.
around, yeah.
Well, if it's any barometer on the school board informational meeting was
How many,
zip.
how many
Nothing.
times?
Zip. I mean, you know, a few people showed up. There was a brief discussion at the end regarding tax rates and the way that worked.
Okay.
But otherwise, we just zipped right through it. It was-
You don't get a lot of.
Well, we got 200 already voted, so I mean.
Michelle,
You could ask questions, but. Like.
There's Becky. Hi, Becky.
Michelle, on the ballots.
Hello.
No, John, you have them right there?
Because
No, I don't, but.
But just if they're meeting, just find me and I'll put them on the desk.
Because they'll ship it to Montpelier.
Well,
You wouldn't-
Yeah,
I
don't.
gotta get the call, was gonna go up, get the call, so that's like, yeah, so I got Monday.
We'll be counting Monday.
Well, I'll be getting them Monday. Bring them over. Michelle. Yeah. So I got another day.
Just ask them to identify themselves if you can.
Okay, so.
In the chat. And I tried to write it
6
down,
people
so I
so
can see it
far.
on there.
Yes.
In the chat and just, maybe Bruce can ask people to just mention their name.
We'll should be.
Yeah, so we.
Susie, I can't see the screen though, sorry.
Yeah, this may be Ned, I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, this is probably Ned. Lori, Marco,
I know Ned's gonna speak to the library,
yeah,
so, well, you might know that too.
yeah.
Maybe.
Well, this morning I said, are you coming? He said, to what?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah,
I got things I can do about it.
I'm pretty sure. So he's not Edward.
You have to write that shit down.
The glare is that big window. I really can't see with the glare.
Sit over beside Steve, you can see.
You
So,
can see you out here.
Steve, you
don't
can
forget to
see.
hit record, that's all.
Yeah, I did it already.
Okay, just because I've done that before and it's not good. And make
Yeah,
sure
this
it's-
is actually much better.
That's good here.
I can see fine.
You can, yeah.
Oh,
The sun is.
yeah. Kind of blocking it though. So we're good.
I can come sit there, but walk. Ruh-roh.
I think so.
Well,
Well, I do too.
The
but
whole thing.
our connection is even-
How does it work out, Michelle? I can even fix that problem,
That's kind of my issue, but I think I can.
but that's where it ends.
Okay. If I get the balance.
Tom produced a nurse, so.
Kelly, Carol, really proud of her. This doesn't exist.
Cheryl, does Richard have much of an online presence in his business?
He's got a phone.
He was chatting up a storm.
We're letting that go after this year.
You are?
I'm trying to finish retiring.
Oh, right.
I'm not paying for a website that
Right.
I don't want people to know this. What
He's still working.
They're gonna find him regardless.
I know his number.
All of his best customers, in your phone.
Oh, phew, I was wondering, what am I gonna do to be on that list?
So that's Lori Collins.
Remember that was part of the deal, you sold me the cleaner? You can fix it forever.
Okay.
He's got it down to the back, so he knows it's not too stressful. Luckily, I was just sitting up all year. Yeah.
Look at the big bird.
2 hours.
But he's also with his
Regear and
work.
stuff this summer, but it didn't-
And Michigan.
Yeah, he's got it down to.
But he's a big bird.
All the tractors or
And
whatever.
Julian's doing his own.
Fix it and that's change it, so.
So, good job. They're in RV.
Are they out?
He's got.
Oh, he's not.
Just remind him if they do.
So
speak,
interrupt
say their
this.
name first, because now what are you gonna do? The consequences, because I will.
And if we forget stuff, we shall have to say,
Rob?
you're right, guys.
Just put it- seems like everyone online is getting good audio feeds, so they're
Good.
wherever you are.
Oh, you checked it, okay, thank you.
So, must be Diane.
And they did ask that people in town hall just speak at once. So we're ready to open up? Good morning. We're meeting from the town hall. Like to open this informational meeting. Call the meeting to order. And just a housekeeping rule, we ask that when you, if you would wish to speak, if you would state your name for our clerk. And we're gonna open up. Vicki Strong would like to have a few words to report on the legislature. So welcome, Vicki.
Hello, thank you. And thank you for this hybrid type of meeting. And can you hear me okay, everybody? Yes, great. So thank you, Bruce and Susie and Jim and those of you here working hard on behalf of Craftsbury. And I've been in the legislature now for 12 years. And the last 4 years I've served on the Agriculture and Forestry Committee, which I feel is a privilege being here from this area surrounded by our farms and forests. I'll just give you a brief overview of that. First of all, I just want to mention it's budget time in the legislature. The governor produces a budget and then all the committees and agencies weigh in on that. And our ag committee's been weighing in on the budget and asking for certain appropriations to help with dairy farming, particularly, which has been struggling, as we all know. But in the meantime, we're working on other types of legislation that will help our farmers in regards to on-farm businesses, agritourism, that sort of thing, where diversity is helping the farmers, dairy farmers especially, to continue on. And they add so much to everything we have in Vermont, not only the wonderful foods that dairy farming provides, but air quality, water quality, our soil health. So many farmers are working hard on preserving all that we see and have here in Vermont of our natural beauty, as well as encouraging tourism, et cetera. So we've been working on that and seeing a lot of progress all over the state with improvements in, like I said, dairy, with water quality and air and soil. So another part of the committee that I find very fascinating as well is the forestry aspect of our committee. And of course, we're surrounded here in this beautiful area with lots of forests. 73% of Vermont is forested. And as we are looking at our forest industry, though, many areas are struggling. And I'm not sure if Representative Sims is there in your meeting. And if not, I'll just mention she's worked hard, especially on forming groups that are touring the state to look at our forest industry. And the legislature has come up with some bills that are trying to help the forest industry roadmap to keep going and get stronger and be more vital in terms of education for young people to enter forestry. The same with dairy, actually, to help young people enter these types of work. And then as we're moving forward with the forestry industry to try to find ways, whether it's Act 250 issues, traveling on roadways, so many things that impact the forest industry. We're trying to find ways forward for them. Another thing our committee works on are our food systems. And you would think that in Vermont, surrounded by so much agriculture, that we would have such a high percentage of local foods available. But right now we're at 25% where we see local foods being available. And in studying this and the food systems, we're moving forward to try to actually, even for in terms of safety and accessibility, to have more local foods regionally within our 6 New England states. So we've been working on a roadmap for that and trying to push forward more ways to have our foods be local. And I like to put a shout out on the forestry side to our state parks, because our committee does cover forest parks and recreation. And I might have said this already in a meeting in Craftsbury, I'm not sure, but we have 55 beautiful little state parks throughout Vermont, and they provide outdoor recreation, hiking, mountain climbing, camping, backpacking, boating, fishing, and swimming. And there are many of them right within our local area. Believe it or not, we have, I think it's 13 state parks within an hour or so drive of where we're living. And I'm living in Albany, you all are in Craftsbury. But a few of those towns that have state parks are Cabot, Elmore, Sheffield, Groton, Westmore, Westfield, Brighton, Maidstone, and Barton. And I've taken it upon myself to visit a lot of these state parks and really see what we have to offer. They're little gems right here in Vermont, and they pay for themselves. There's no extra revenue that has to come in to keep them going, which is a blessing. And they also provide a million or so visitors a year coming into the state to use these state parks. They provide employment for local folks in the summer times. Of course, in the winter, they're not operating officially, although you can hike and ski and snowshoe. But in the summer times, we see all kinds of people from all over coming into the state of Vermont just for our state parks. So I put that out there because I'm enjoying visiting these state parks. I hope you will take advantage. Take the kids, the grandchildren, get a picnic, and go visit one. We have 13 in our vicinity. So I guess I'll just end there. I don't like to take much of your meeting time, but I just want you to know I appreciate serving in the legislature. It's not an easy job. And yesterday driving back and forth, excuse me, to Montpelier was tricky. But I do it because I love to serve and I love to represent you to the best of my ability. And that means all voices from all sides of issues. So thank you so much. Thank you for giving me these few minutes with you.
Thank you, Vicki.
Yep, thank you. Anybody have any questions for Vicki?
You want to do the protocol for questions, like a hand up for the people here?
You can either do a hand up or you can just, you can hit the button on the bottom. Okay,
Any chat questions by chance? No.
No. Thank you very much, Vicki.
Thank you.
Is Catherine on? Catherine Sims? Okay.
Could you let us know when she is, Matt, please?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, until Catherine comes on, we will start out. The first order of business or on the ballot is the officers that will be elected. I can either read down through these. There's only one contested position, a lister's position for 1 year. Or I can just ask if there's any questions on the election of officers. If not, we will move on to Article 2. And Jim, go ahead.
Article 2, review and discuss articles. Shall the voters authorize total fund expenditures for operating expenses of $865,135, of which $528,936 shall be raised by taxes. The breakdown is on page 19, I believe. Show you where we got that figure. Are there any questions?
18, 19.
Well, 18, yeah, the 19 has the carrying forward, state aid, miscellaneous.
The fund figure.
Current use, yeah, that's where we go from the 865,000 down to 528.
Questions?
Any questions on those? If not, Article 3, can be found in your book on page 36. Shall the town appropriate $59,300 to the volunteer fire department for payment of necessary expenses from January 1 through December 31st, 2022? Questions? Go for it. Shall the town authorize a sum of $200,000 to purchase a replacement rescue truck for the fire department? Questions on that article?
Can I just take a quick moment and just, I have some people's first names, but could I just go around for a minute and just, so if you could just say your name for the minutes, if you wouldn't mind?
And you have people here.
I know that people here were here, but you know, but not everybody does, so you want to start here first? I'm Michelle, I'm select board clerk temporarily, and I'm trying to, I'm up for election for town clerk, so.
Jim Jones, select board member.
Bruce Ury, select board member.
Susan Houston, select board member.
Steve Moffett, Conservation Commission Chair.
Jeffrey Bach, and I'm on the school board.
Chris Erickson.
Matt Allen, the resident, also over there.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's why you're on Zoom, because of these two fellas.
Not because of Jim and I.
No.
Hey, Bruce,
Yeah.
this is Penelope, and I don't have a question about the fire truck, but I just want to say thank you to all the fire guys and what a great job they all do. So,
Thank you very much.
We all saw that.
We're always recruiting, so anybody that's looking for a lifetime position, please come see us.
all right.
You want to start with call the name of who?
With the names, I'm not quite sure on everybody's name on
Not sure
there.
what. order
Okay.
they're all in.
I could just read down the participant list.
Yeah.
That's-
Can you see it better? Okay.
Okay.
We have Alan Turnbull, Allison Christie, Terry Crozier, Daniel Solomon, who also said he was there, Michelle, I'm sorry, with Jane, Penelope.
Can you say, speak a little louder, Matt?
We have Diane, I'm not sure your last name, as well as Eleanor.
Is that Diane Morgan?
Diane, is that you, Diane Morgan?
Diane and Ross are here. Thank you.
And Ross, and then Eleanor Osborne, that's Osborne, right, Eleanor?
Are you there, Eleanor? Okay.
We have Elizabeth Foley, Joseph Gresser, Carlo Lillycraft for Olina. For OEDA.
Yes, this is Eleanor.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you, Eleanor.
There's someone in the chat named LeBeau. Let us know your first name.
LeBeau,
LeBeau, can you let us know your first name, please?
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is Adam LeBeau. I'm sorry, Adam and Elizabeth LeBeau.
Thank you.
We have Linda Ransdale, Lori Collins Hall of Sterling College, Dawn Hatton, Legal Hatton, Margot Eastman, Vicky Strong, and Ruth Marquette.
Margot Eastman, what was the other one after that, sorry?
Vicky Strong.
And then Marquette, you said?
And we hired Abigail Stockman as
Thank you.
Okay.
And Vicky added some contact info for her. She has to leave in the next few minutes, but if anybody needs that, it's in chat.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bert. Okay, review and discuss Article 5, so the town appropriate the sum of $3,200. I know there's 4 cemeteries, we go 800 apiece to pay for mowing and trash, whatever. Questions?
Okay. Shall the town appropriate the sum of $100 to the Craftsbury Historical Society? Don, did you want to speak to that?
Are you on, Don, or is?
Don is helping with the people swimming in the ice up in Memphremagog today, but I'm here for him. Yes. We would appreciate $100 as a token of support from the community.
That doesn't cover many hours of Don's time, so I think it's a very worthwhile investment, so.
Especially if he's swimming in the ice. Gee.
Hey, any more? Okay, review and discuss Article. Shall the town appropriate a sum of $7,000 Craftsbury Conservation Fund? Would you like to speak, Steve?
Sure. So I'm Steve Moffett, I'm Chair of the Conservation Commission. Oftentimes people ask what this money is for and why are we asking for it. The Conservation Commission was started in response to a survey through the town that indicated that town folks are very concerned about our natural heritage and natural resources. So we started that. The Conservation Fund is sort of the teeth behind that, little money in there to address these issues is helpful. And I'm just going to read our mission statement for the Craftsbury Conservation Fund mission statement. The Craftsbury Conservation Fund is intended to provide funding in whole or in part for conservation opportunities serving the public good. Allocation of funds should be prioritized to target the most critical threats to the town's natural heritage. It can be seen as an emergency fund available when needed for the kind of conservation projects that ensure the proper utilization of Craftsbury's natural heritage and resource into the future. It allows for quick access to funds when situations arise, working with property owners and other organizations, and leveraging grants and matching money for the town. There is a process for this. There's an application process which you can review online. The Conservation Commission is a subcommittee of the Select Board, so this process would be reviewed by the Conservation Commission and the Select Board. Oftentimes people ask how these funds may be used. We really don't have a plan in mind. However, other towns have used them for things like conservation easements, right-of-way deeds, mapping costs, donation towards cost of a restoration of a dam, safety and engineering safety inspection of a pedestrian bridge. It is important to note that other towns do have a conservation commission and a conservation fund that are funded through local taxes. We're not the only ones. And just what I'd like to say with an investment in the Craftsbury Conservation Fund, it definitely is I see it as a very good investment. It's almost like a little savings account, and it could be used for, very, very long-term projects to help the town out. I think we've all seen from this past year with COVID and real estate prices going up, how quickly things can change, how much money there is, how quickly Craftsbury is changing. This fund could be seen as a little bit of a hedge to help oversee that and meet needs if situations arise quickly. That's about all I have. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions for Steve? Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
This will be article number 8. Shall the town appropriate the sum of $750 for Memorial Day? That $750 pretty much covers the cost of the flags that we honor the veterans in the cemetery, the graves of the vets in the cemeteries. Any questions? Comments?
Article 9, so the town appropriates sum of 1,500 to Craftsbury Recreation Committee. A big chunk of that goes to Old Home Day, I believe. Sometimes the winter lights,
Trunk or
trick or treat, yeah, trick or treat. Any questions on that?
If not, Article 10, shall the town appropriate the sum of $1,500 to the Craftsbury Village Improvement Society for maintenance on the common? And there's a report in your book that you can read, outline some of the stuff that they've done. It's mowing on the common, painting the fences, fixing the fences, and the costs of the concerts that they hold during the summer, so.
11, so the town appropriated a sum of $500 to the Northern New England Region American Red Cross. Questions?
For most of these appropriations, we do have a book here that explains their requests, so feel free to raise your hand and we can read what they sent to the town. If there's no questions there, Article 12, shall the town appropriate the sum of $1,000 to AWARE for preventing and healing the trauma of domestic and sexual violence? Questions?
Article 13, shall the town appropriate the sum of $12,000 to Craftsbury Community Care Center, a level 3 residential care facility.
And if I could speak on that, you get. Jeffrey Bach, besides being a resident of Craftsbury, I am also the vice president of the Four Seas Board. It's a wonderful organization. I point you in the direction of page 48 in your book, where there's a description of this past year, which of course has been a challenging year with the pandemic. But the Four Seas Board asked me to come here and to make sure to pass on to everyone our profound thanks to the town for its prior support and for its continuing support, and respectfully request an appropriation for the upcoming year. And I'll be happy to answer any questions about the Four Seas.
Are there any questions?
That's interesting. Charlie Brown also.
Okay, I'll wait for.
Sure. We just noticed that Catherine Sims has joined us. We would break and listen to Catherine.
Was there any questions?
Or any questions on the,
Jeffrey?
for the care center, Jeffrey? If not, we will break, let Catherine fill us in about what's going on in her world in Montpelier. Catherine, welcome.
Hi folks, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks so much for letting me dive right in. Sorry, busy morning here with the little kids, and the day just got ahead of me. So grateful for the opportunity to connect with you all. And sure wish it were in person, but glad that we have this as an option. So I'm not sure exactly what Rep Strong said, but as you all know, we are nearly halfway through our session already, and this has been quite a biennium with significant federal stimulus and increase in state revenues that allow us to think about transformative investments for the future of Vermont. It has been a busy year for me in my first term as a legislator. I'm serving on energy and technology and as the clerk of the Rural Caucus. It's been really exciting to be back in the building the last several weeks to meet in person with colleagues and advocates. In our committee, House Energy and Technology, we have been continuing to look at the issues of connectivity, both broadband and cell service. Our committee recommended an additional investment of $95 million for broadband, in addition to the 150 that we passed last year, with the goal of ensuring that education and work and health and all of the ways that we connect family. pandemic. We are also recommending a 21 cell service and then develop a community engagement process to identify locations for additional cell towers, again, with the goal of expanding coverage, knowing how vital it is for everyone to be able to call for help if they need to. So those are two big things our committee have been dealing with. We also passed out a bill to provide resources to municipalities to increase energy resilience. We know that our towns and municipal entities own over 2,000 buildings in Vermont, many of which are old and could benefit from weatherization and energy efficiency and systems upgrades to help save taxpayers money and reduce our emissions. So I'm excited to see that work move forward. I'll just flag two other things and then happy to answer any questions. One is spent a lot of time thinking about the forest economy this year, knowing how important that is for our rural communities and support the forests and all the services that they provide for Vermont. Omnibus bill, which had a series of recommendations to advance the forest industry. Has moved through House Ag and Forestry. This is the Forest Future Strategic Roadmap, which is modeled after the successful Farm to Plate initiative, where stakeholders come together to create an action plan to guide policy and infrastructure investments to ensure the future of our forest economy, and hoping that that will come to the floor next week and we can continue to pass that on and out of the House over to the Senate. And we're also in the middle of redistricting. Every 10 years, when we have the new census data, we work to adjust the House and Senate districts to make sure that every Vermonter has equal representation. And the current proposal in House Government Operations does recommend a significant change for our district. We're currently a part of a 2-member 7-town district with Albany, Barton, Craftsbury, Greensboro, Glover, Sheffield, and Wheelock. And the current proposal would be to create a single-member district for Craftsbury, along with Greensboro, Glover, and Albany. So that's something that's on the table now, and happy to talk with more folks about that or other things if you have questions. I did put together a town meeting day report, which has a lot more details about some of the major policy that we've passed already in our first 2 months into the session, and that's on my website, catherinesimsforhouse.com. I'll stop there, and again, grateful for the opportunity to connect with you all, and happy to answer questions now or offline.
Questions for Catherine?
Does anybody have any questions for Catherine about the redistricting? Because around this table, we've talked about that just a tiny little bit. I'd love to hear somebody else's reactions to that, what she just laid out. No? I guess not.
Okay, well, we thank you very much, Catherine. We will.
Thank you. It's been an honor to serve and represent you all. And please don't hesitate to reach out individually if folks want to talk more about anything. Yeah.
Thank you. We will continue. Article 14, shall the town appropriate the sum of $45,000 to the Craftsbury Public Library? Okay.
Yes, I would like to speak briefly to that, if I may.
Yes.
So people might be wondering why the library is asking for more money this year. I just want to briefly say that we've been basically trying to level fund, and actually last year had a lower appropriation from the town. Things have gone up, and we've tried to make some progress with some long-term needs, particularly having a full-time librarian and providing some level of benefits. This has put our budget up a little bit. The trustees have undertaken to raise even more money, and we're doing our best. COVID has gotten in the way of some of our fundraising capabilities. So we're asking for some support for the town. We've seen a lot of interest in the new capacities we have with the higher speed internet and the multiple open spaces. And I think the library is vigorously and actively supporting the town in many ways. We've been fortunate to have gifts that allowed us to basically pay for all the operations of the building, including our magnificent new addition, which has provided more meeting space and opportunities to serve a greater variety of people at the same time. So we're really hopeful that you'll support us. We think the library is an important part of the fabric of the town, and we look forward to being the best little library that's possible. The fact that we get rated as a 5-star library, one of the very few in the country, I think is a testament to, number one, the amount of interest and support from the community, and number two, our capacity as a town to support that. So thanks for your consideration. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have questions for Ned?
Yeah, hi, this is Jane Solomon. I do actually have a question. Just being new in town and, we love the library. It's a wonderful resource. And I was just looking down the report and saw that there's a line for replenishing the endowment. And I'm just curious, how big is the endowment?
So what happens is we, in our budgeting, pull a bunch of money in case we need it, so that we have the cash available. And then at the end of the year, we put it back in. Currently, our investment fund is sitting a little over $600,000. And we have been taking on the order of $25,000 out of that every year. That's a little more than totally prudent management would want to take out, because you'd like to grow that endowment at least to stay on top of things, especially as our building, which was wonderfully new 20 years ago, starting to show some signs of age, and we are needing to put more of our resources into taking care of it. So that's where we sit now.
Thank you.
Other questions for Ned?
The library report is on page 50, 51, and 52 with your town report.
If not, go ahead.
Okay, so Article 15, so the town appropriate a sum of $6,000 to Craftsbury Saplings, a community children's center. Is there anyone here to speak on that?
Hand raised by Carrie Crozier.
Carrie.
Hi, everyone. This is Carrie Crozier. I serve as the board chair for Craftsbury Saplings. You can find info about our request on page 54. I mostly wanted to share today our deep gratitude for all the community partners that helped us make our way through the pandemic this year. We have a full house at Craftsbury Saplings and a wait list just about as long as our 19 kid enrollment mark. So the need is there, and we are looking ahead to the future toward a possible expansion. A major difference this year for us is that we have historically requested funding from the Good Neighbor Fund. And so this is our first year asking the town for an appropriation. I would be happy to answer any questions. We are, just want to reiterate how grateful we are for all of our community partnerships and individual donors who have seen us through this incredibly challenging 2 years. Families are extremely grateful. Our staff is grateful. So thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
Someone asked me to ask a question if, have you received any money from other towns? Because you said you were going to be asking them, and how much, what other towns and how much are you asking this year for?
Yeah, so about half of our children are Craftsbury residents, and the rest are split among the 5 surrounding towns. We have requested $500 each from Albany and Wolcott, which is, proportionate to the number of kids that we have from those 2 towns. We've been working hard to get on the ballot for other towns, but because of the pandemic and the petitioning process, the last 2 years we haven't been successful, but we hope to change that next year. Anything else?
Any more questions? Okay, the Article 16, shall the town appropriate the sum of $1,200 to the Green Mountain Farm to School for providing fresh local food and nutrition education to students in northern Vermont?
If I could speak briefly on that.
Yes.
Jeffrey Bog here. I'm actually on the board of Green Mountain Farm to School. It is a wonderful nonprofit that supports Northeast Kingdom farmers, schools, students, and food banks. Like I said, throughout the Northeast Kingdom, including in Craftsbury. And it's really done a great job of bringing fresh local produce into our schools and teaching our kids about farming and growing food. And it's a wonderful organization, and the organization is very, very thankful for the support in the past and respectfully requests support this year as well.
Questions? Okay, Article 17, shall the town appropriate a sum of $2,500 to the Greensboro Nursing Home? Like you say, in the past, I'm sure this year they've supported, Greensboro supported the care center. Did you ask for appropriate?
Yes, yes. Oh, I shifting back to the Greensboro, to the Craftsbury Community Care Center. We request money from towns all surrounding, including Greensboro. Greensboro has supported us both, directly through an appropriation, I believe, and they also have various funds that they've also supplied money to us, particularly during the pandemic.
Any questions on Article 17?
If not, shall the town appropriate the sum of $2,500 to the Hardwick Food Pantry and the expanded Craftsbury, and it would be Craftsbury/Albany Food Share? Questions?
Okay, Article 19, shall the town appropriate a sum of $19,924 for Hardwick Rescue Squad? Which we all think is a very good deal. Thank you, Hardwick. Any questions?
I would just say that under Hardwick Rescue, they are going to be holding a first responder class. I believe it's the 5th and 6th of March at Hazen Union. And this will qualify somebody to be an emergency EMT, and they would be able to serve with Hardwick Rescue. It's sort of an abbreviated session. Normally it's a 72-hour course, and they're going to hopefully bring it down to about a 24-hour course. So if anybody's interested, contact the select board and we can give you more information.
If I could just briefly comment on that, Jeffrey Bach.
Yes.
The past few years, my mother-in-law has resided with us in east of Craftsbury. Fortunately, had some medical issues, and I was amazed at the speed with which the Hardwick rescue people responded, the professionalism, the competency, and the genuine kindness. And they are an outstanding organization. Having been unfortunately on the consumer end of it, they are truly an outstanding organization.
I've worked with them through the fire department, and they would just mirror Jeffrey's remarks. It's a good organization. Article 20, shall the town appropriate the sum of $1,500 to Lamoille County Mental Health Services?
I think there's somebody here.
That's Orleans County Mental Health. It's on there. Anybody that wanted to speak to that?
Okay, Article 21, shall the town appropriate a sum of $1,000 to the Lamoille Family Center for parent and child programming services designed to promote healthy, safe, resilient families? Any questions?
If not, Article 22, shall the town appropriate the sum of $500 to the North Country Animal League? Comments? Questions?
Article 23, shall the town appropriate a sum of $650 to assist the Northeast Kingdom Council on Aging? We all seem to be doing. Any questions?
If there's no questions, Article 24, shall the town appropriate the sum of $1,266 to the Northeast Kingdom Human Services for supporting community members with mental health, addiction, and developmental disabilities? Questions?
Yeah, Ruth Marquette with news from AHS.
Okay, if you'd like to speak to that.
Hi, I can.
I'm Ruth Marquette, and I wanted to thank you all for the town for supporting our agency in the past. We really appreciate it, and I know we've been down there a few times to provide suicide prevention training at the college, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Questions? Thank you very much.
Article 25, shall the town appropriate a sum of $905 to Northeastern Vermont Development Association for planning, developing, promoting, and publicizing resources? Any questions?
If not, Article 26, shall the town appropriate the sum of $250 to Northeast Kingdom Learning Services for support in adult educational programs? Nothing?
Okay. Article 27, shall the town appropriate a sum of $700 to assist in maintaining Willstone House Museum and its programs?
Comments? Not. Article 28, shall the town appropriate the sum of $500 to the Orleans County Fair for supporting and maintaining the Orleans County Fair 150-year tradition? Comments, questions? Nothing there?
Hey, Article 29, shall the town appropriate a sum of $800 to Orleans County Citizens Advocacy for creating and supporting relationships between community volunteers and individuals with developmental disabilities? Any questions? Comments?
Article 30. Shall the town appropriate the sum of $350 to the Orleans County Children's Advocacy Center?
Nope. Article 31, so the town appropriate the sum of $4,200 to Orleans Essex Visiting Nurse Association and Hospice for providing services to the elderly, homebound, and chronically ill.
Raised by Carla.
Yes. Would you like to speak, please?
Carla? Did you want to speak to the Vista Nurse Association, the appropriation request?
Looks like she's unmuted, but if we're just not getting any audio, Carla.
So we can't get her.
I'm just let her say it loudly. Can you try to, the audio's not working for you? Can you try again?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I had it on mute. So on behalf of Orleans Essex VNA and Hospice, I want to thank you for permitting us for over 50 years to come into your community. Orleans Essex VNA and Hospice covers most of Orleans County and Northern Essex County. We cover 24 communities. And we're happy to employ some of your community members as part of our administrative and field staff team. We do provide services 24/7 for nursing as needed for symptom management and or death notification. And some of our services are available 7 days a week. So again, I do want to thank you so much for always permitting us to come in and supporting us at town meeting. And I can answer any questions that you may have.
Questions for Carla? No. Thank you very much.
Thank you again. Have a great day.
Yours or mine? Okay. Article 32, shall the town appropriate the sum of $500 to the Pope Memorial Frontier Animal Shelter? Questions? No.
Article 33, so the town appropriate a sum of $600 to rural community transportation, RCT, for providing public transportation services in northern Vermont. Any questions or comments?
Not. Article 34, shall the town appropriate the sum of $500 to Salvation Farms for distributing produce from local farms to the region's residents? Anybody from Salvation Farms?
or questions about it?
Article 35, shall the town appropriate a sum of $500 to Vermont Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired for supporting independence and cultivate adaptive skills to those visually impaired? Comments or questions? So that's good.
Article 36, shall the town appropriate the sum of $140 to the Vermont Center for Independent Living for assisting Vermonters with disabilities achieve dignified and self-determined lives? Questions?
37, shall the town appropriate a sum of $100 to Vermont Rural Fire Protection Task Force? Comments or questions?
Is that a new one?
No, I would just say that that one has helped. If anybody's familiar with the dry hydrants that the town fire department has put in. We have, I believe there's 24 hydrants that are either in ponds or streams that are around here. And they pay about 80% of the cost of each of those hydrants that go in. So $100 investment's a pretty small investment to return maybe $1,500 average for each hydrant, so. No, oh, yeah. Article 38, will town appropriate the sum of $250 to Vermont Family Network for supporting and empowering Vermont families of children with special needs? No question.
Article 39, shall the town appropriate a sum of $1,500 to Winter Arts for supporting programs, activities, and projects for Craftsbury families? Questions or comments?
Anybody from Wonder Art? Okay, if not, Article 40, shall the town authorize the select board to spend the 2020 Good Neighbor Fund contingent upon availability of funds for extensive town hall repairs and upkeep?
2022.
Yeah, 22, yeah, sorry. No.
Like that.
Yeah. We have let some maintenance slip, and as everybody knows, the cost of paint, equipment and things has gone up. So we're hoping to do some much needed repairs here at the town hall.
We're working with the Energy Commission to maybe hopefully do some foam in the basement because we had water freeze up 3 different times. We got to check out, make sure not too much water is coming in, and the wall is closed. We got to check that out. And there's some windows that need addressing, some basically recaulking, fixing up. So.
And this year we got a little bit less from the Good Neighbor Fund. I think it was 27,000 and some. Other years we've gotten 30, 31,000, but it's been dropping. And this is, I believe, our last year to be receiving these funds. So we decided to use them for just to keep our town hall budget.
Been pretty close to $300,000 that has come in from the fund over the 10-year period. So we have achieved quite a lot for energy efficiency with 2 solar installations. We've tightened up the little school. There's a variety of projects, but it's been a pretty good investment here in town.
Questions or comments on that? Hey, Article 41, shall the town vote to have the taxes collected by the town treasurer?
Not much we can do about that.
Please say yes.
And the final one, Article 42, shall the town vote to collect taxes on real property in 3 installments with the due dates being July 15th, September 15th, and November 15th, and to collect interest on late and delinquent payments of 1% per month for the first 3 months, starting after December 1st, and 1.5% thereafter, with no discounts.
Just to let you know, if you say no on that, it means it's due in 30 days.
Yeah.
So it's better to say yes on that one.
And just a point of clarification, the due dates of July, September, and November, there's no penalty if you miss your July payment, if you bring it, you know, if you brought it in on the 1st of September, 1st of August, there'd be no penalty on the first two payments, so. It's only on the, after the final payment is due that the penalties kick in, so.
It's just that you have to pay it by November 15th. If you want to do it in 10 installments or 1 installment or 3 installments, that's you.
Yep. So,
See if there's anybody else who has any.
anybody else care to speak or have any information they'd like to relay while we're all here?
And with Mary Lou Isaacson, that is, I don't know, if they'd like to speak.
Who's here?
Oh, she just jumped in.
Did she want to speak or would she just
entered the room.
just enter it? Okay.
Did Lori Collins Hall want to speak or anybody else who's on?
Anybody on Zoom would like to speak?
I don't need to speak, thank you, but I appreciate attending the town meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. Good to have you here. Or Steve or Jeffrey, do you have anything else? Questions, comments?
No. So I'd like to again thank Chris and Matt for the technical services here.
Did we want to read the dedication of the town report? We've done that sometimes.
Go ahead.
Yes, right.
No, it's just a.
You're right. No,
That would be nice. Yeah, it would be nice.
Go ahead and read it. I just brought it up.
Um,
We do traditionally.
You're right.
At the town meeting, we normally have a dedication. This year, as most of you know, Effie or Deb Brown has retired after 34 and a half years with the town as a town clerk. The dedication is in the front of your book, but I will read it just so that everybody has it on record. That Effie Brown was born and raised in Hardwick, Vermont, with her parents, Burl and Margaret Thompson, and 3 sisters. They were called the Ett girls, Jeanette, Annette, and Yvette and Paulette. She graduated from Hazen Union in 1971, and because of her height, was the first one in her class to get her diploma. She worked at the Hardwick Hospital and the Greensboro nursing home while in school. During the summer, she worked for many people around Caspian Lake, cleaning and being a nanny. She married in September of 71 to Guy Brown and started their lives together in Hardwick. They moved to Craftsbury in 1976, rented until they built their house on Black River Road. She received her education certificate in early preschool education, worked for Head Start program for 8 years and for East Craftsbury Preschool in the academy for 2 years. That also did bookkeeping for many in the area. Effie has 2 children, Darcy and Nathan. They both attended Craftsbury schools, being very competitive in their academics as well as sports. She shows pride in her 4 beautiful grandchildren, Megan, Lynn, Elizabeth, and Katie. In June of 1987, Yvette got a call from Rita Davis, who at the time was the town and school clerk and treasurer. She called to ask if Effie would be interested in becoming the clerk and treasurer for the town and school. She went for an interview with the select board, which at that time was Ed Williams, Ann Wilson, and Everett Demerit. Rita called the next day to say that she got the job and she could start the next day because in 3 days, Rita was leaving to start her new job and would not be there. She admits to being scared. All that worked for the town at the time were very helpful. Other clerks, the state of Vermont, League of Cities and Towns, and the select board. After you remembered the first time she had to do town meeting and election, Doug Field came to her and said, "Remember, you are the boss. This is your stage." Michelle might want to remember those words. It's also a phase that she will always remember. Time passed and she went from doing all the payroll and bookkeeping on ledgers to a computer. Had no computer training and had to do the job training, but she did amazingly well. For 34 years, Yvette has greeted everyone with a smile. If they wanted to stay a while and chat, she always put aside her chores and welcomed the visit. She had patience with those that complained, but stood up for herself when she felt the need. It takes a special person to be a town clerk. It's not an easy job, but Yvette showed the way it could be done. She'll tell you she made many friends and that Craftsbury is her always home. We wish Effie the best in whatever she decides to do next in her life. And I would add that we are hoping this spring to have an afternoon to honor Effie for her years of service to the town. We felt in December when she retired that with the COVID cases so high, it wasn't prudent to have an open house. So look forward to, or look out for the Front Porch Forum and the Facebook page for information on that date. Thank you again, Effie.
I'd like to thank Cheryl Bailey and the listers for putting together yet again another excellent town report, and Michelle was helping out so much on this. This is really a great document that we have every year for our town, full of such important information, including budgets and philosophy. So it's really a great document. So thank you very much, Cheryl Bailey, who is here, and the auditors for, again,
Wasn't very stressing that one.
it's a very non-stressful job that she has. Yeah.
Well, she's white this year, so.
Thank you again for all that joined us on Zoom. And we hope
And
that,
in person.
and in person, and we look forward, or we hope to look forward to next year having an in-person meeting, so.
We did have a few wrap-up comments in the chat. We have Linda Ransom saying, thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.
Yeah. And could I just say thank you to all the work that the select board has done throughout the year. The amount of hours that you guys put in is amazing, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Allison Christie, who said, I look forward to getting back to actual town meeting as soon as we can safely do so. Thank you for your time and service. And Vicky Strong, love to note, it was an interesting meeting. Thank you all. Best wishes on town meeting day.
And don't forget to vote, everybody. You've got your ballots.
Rose, we usually, Sharon is here, we say something about.
Oh,
That's true. True. Yes, Lois Sharon usually asks that the select board consider
Where's Lois?
holding Old Home Day on the second Saturday in August, and we will certainly keep that in mind.
We also have Lori Collins Hall from Sterling. Thank you, everyone. It was wonderful to learn more about Craftsbury.
Thank you very much.
I
So
miss
keep
Lois.
that in mind for all home days because it's the pandemic. So this is that. Just want to make sure, well understood.
And tell everybody we're looking for a select board clerk.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
If you know of anybody, yes, starting like immediately. Starting like today.
Michelle, do you want to mention about like getting the ballots in if you have not mailed them?
Right, I will be here, if you have not, dropped off your ballot yet, I will be here Monday morning from 8 to noon, if you want to drop it off in person. We'll also be here all day, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., taking any of the ballots that day, voting day. I don't suggest you bring it to the post office at this point, we're probably not gonna get it in time for Tuesday. So they'll do their best, but there's a chance if you bring it to the post office or leave in your mailbox, it won't get there in time. So please drop it off at the town hall. Thank you.
Oh, Steve. Open up the true. Person wants that quick draw.
Yep. Yeah.